Let's begin with the New York Mets because the Amazons are scheduled to introduce Luis Rojas as their new manager on Friday afternoon. Rojas is the son of Felipe Alou, a great manager in his day, and has been a part of the Mets organization as both minor league manager and this season was on the major league staff as quality control / outfield coach. The 38-year-old does take over under unusual and challenging circumstances. We know this. There's a look at the career notes for Luis Rojas. He's been in the Mets organization for a long, long time, and the family ties there, the son of Felipe Alou and the brother of Moises Alou. Our insider Joel Sherman, who also writes for the New York Post and covers the Mets extensively, tweeted this out about Rojas. Rojas is just 38, but actually has a pedigree like managers once had. Played in the minors, managed a long time in the minors, coached in the majors, and knows the Mets system and infrastructure. And Ron, that is kind of an interesting point because we have seen several teams recently hire managers, young managers, with no experience. That's not the case here with Luis Rojas.
Yeah, it's not the case. I think they've always felt that he was on his way to being a guy that would certainly manage the Mets someday. Beltran was out there. That didn't work out for all the shenanigans last week. But it's nice to see someone who has that baseball pedigree get the job. I think the take by Joel is spot on. We just don't see this happen very often. A person that has done some of the smallest jobs you could ever have in the minor leagues and advanced. Joel had that great tweet. Josh Satin, who played for Rojas and also played with the Mets, had a great tweet also that when he met Luis Rojas in 2008, he was driving vans for the minor leaguers, taking them to and from the hotel. Wow. You know, so we're talking about a love for the game that you will do anything to give yourself a chance to manage in the big leagues. He's getting a chance to do that. And I think even more importantly, Carlos, I played for a guy, Davey Johnson. He had never managed before. He had managed the Jackson team, AA team for the Mets, and then was the roving instructor before he was the AAA manager. So managed a few seasons, roving instructor, so he knew everybody in the organization. And it really helped because when push came to shove, he had a relationship with each and every player.
Yes. Now that we look in retrospect, you know, we were talking about other names out there and we say, what's going to be the best one for the Mets? Looking at this seems like the perfect candidate and the right man for the job. Luis Rojas from the Dominican Republic, so yes, everybody's really excited back home that he gets this opportunity. But he just has all the qualities, you know. When we talk about Sherman's tweet right there saying that he paid his dues. I mean, he was in the trenches. So when he was entrusted with the simplest of of things, but very important things like driving the players from one place to another, now he gets entrusted with the big ball club. This has been earned, and that's something that we must point out.
You know, it's not only that those players on the Mets team played for Rojas, but if you listen to all of them, to a man, talk about Rojas, it's only in glowing terms. I have not heard one bad thing about him. So that says a lot about the relationships that Luis has with his players. Now, his father is like a god to me. I mean, he's one of the...
Felipe Alou.
Felipe Alou is one of the great managers, great people, great players in the game. And his brother, Moises, is one of the few guys I know, when he turns 55, you could just rouse him out of bed, he'll go 3 for 4. I mean, that's how good of a hitter he was. But you can see the last 3 years is that the family ties work for him.
Absolutely. So we saw that list, Carlos, of some of the current notable players that Luis Rojas has managed coming up through the system. If you're one of those players on that list or another player on the Mets, what do you need to hear or see from Luis Rojas right out the gate?
The most important thing is, can someone motivate me? If someone is my leader, I want my leader to be able to motivate me, to get the best out of me. And who better to do that than someone has been with you in the minor leagues, you know, in your difficult times. And many of these players, as we saw, had him as a coach, as a contributor, as just seeing them every day as they were grinding in the minor leagues. You know there's a lot of trust that has been earned, and that goes a very long way.
You know, what happens to some is that you might have these relationships and manage these guys in the minors, but they're going to be watching you. And that first speech he gives in spring training is going to be the most important speech he's probably ever given in his life when he addresses the team. But more importantly, I think for the players that played for him, who feel so many good thoughts about him, don't change. Yeah. Just be exactly who you were through the minor leagues. You're one of the best managers there. Take that and that experience into the major leagues.